All right. On this next segment, we are going to hop back into our slow crawl through the Book of Enoch. I was like, this is our 9th episode of the Book of Enoch. And initially we had plotted out to do the entire book
in not 10 episodes,
in 9 episodes. And we are finishing up the chapter 64 today. But that's all right. We're glad that you have enjoyed us. So we're going to be, by the end of the year, hopefully finishing up the Book of Parables, which is the second section of the Book of Enoch. And then we'll decide if we're going to continue crawling through the remaining segments or hop into maybe some other extra biblical books.
Yeah. And feel free to let us know. If you like this, we'll keep going. If not, we're going to switch it up and then we'll return to Book of Enoch.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're like, no, bring back recommendations or bring back conspiracies or bring back, all that stuff. We'd like to hear from you and just share what you like as well.
Yeah.
But as for today, we're going to continue on.
So let's jump in. Do you have a little synopsis from the previous episode? Okay.
So in our last Enoch episode, we covered God's judgment or coming judgment on the wicked kings and rulers on a future great day of judgment. The final verse in chapter 63 was, "This is the ordinance and judgment with respect to the mighty and the kings and the exalted and those who rule the earth before the Lord." So it's kind of all of heaven was whoa, it's going down. And God brought judgment on those who attack the righteous. We're now going to hop into chapter 64, which we should have covered last time. It is a 2-verse long chapter, which concludes the judgment story that we finished last week.
That just tells you how much we were drowning in stuff we had to get done outside of this podcast.
Yeah, I was 3 chapters. I didn't even look and see what the next one was.
Didn't even look that it was 2 verses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways.
Yeah. Anyways. So to sum up the end of this whole judgment narrative, Enoch says, and I heard the voice of an angel saying, "These are the angels who descended to the earth and revealed what was hidden to the children of men and seduced them into committing sin." So this is a reference to the Watchers, who are kind of from the beginning of the Book of Enoch, chapters 6-ish.
Mm-hmm. So the evil Watchers.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. The fallen Watchers who rebelled against the Lord, tying this Book of Parables also to the Book of Watchers. So kind of showing the timeline. And I believe what Enoch's saying here is that not only are the wicked of the earth being judged, wicked humans, but the wicked and evil Watchers are going to be judged by the Lord at the same time as well.
Yeah. No, it was a pretty cut and dry chapter. So I don't have much to add.
All 2 lines of it.
All 2 lines.
Yep.
So in chapter 65, this chapter starts, and it's technically a fragment of the Book of Noah, correct?
Yes. Can I pop in here real quick? And then you can go into it.
Go for it.
So we're going to hop into another fragment of the Book of Noah. And I did some research because I'm we had a fragment from the Book of Noah, I think 2 times ago, which seemed oddly inserted into the, the kind of story. Mm-hmm. And I did some research, and it's believed that pretty much the rest of the Book of Parables, which is chapters 65 through 71, was added at a much later date and wasn't included by the original author of Enoch.
Yeah.
So they think that they added these fragments to kind of this kind of sounds like the same time or kind of what Enoch's talking about. So I would take kind of the remaining 8 chapters of this book with a bit more of a grain of salt than maybe the interest or spiritual relevance that we found in the previous chapters.
And even the fragment of the Book of Noah that was before this.
Yes.
That was also said to have been added, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Added later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind because there's some stuff in these next 2 chapters. I'm I don't know if that's quite
biblical.
Yes.
This whole thing's not biblical.
It is not, but this is much, I could be this could be right here. Why it was not included.
Starts to get sci-fi.
Exactly.
Sure.
Well, and it doesn't line up with the biblical story of Noah and Enoch anymore. So it was added, they believe it, at a much later date.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll hop on in.
So this chapter starts by describing how Noah sees the earth sunken down and its destruction coming upon it. It says that, quote, "He arose from thence and went to the ends of the earth and cried aloud to his grandfather Enoch. And Noah said 3 times with an embittered voice, 'Hear me, hear me, hear me.' which maybe that's where hear ye, hear ye comes from. I don't know. I thought that was funny. But he says, hear me, hear me, hear me. And then Enoch speaks back to Noah saying, quote, tell me what it is that is falling out on the earth, that the earth is in such evil plight and shaken, lest perchance I shall perish with it.
You can tell even like it's like an old English type language. It is like an
old English.
It's like totally even different wording. So pretty much we hop into Noah is seeing that when it says the earth is sunken down, I think that's more referring to like the depravity of the world. Yeah. Because this is obviously before the flood, if we're following this, and its destruction is near. So he cries out to Enoch, and I heard it as Noah says to Enoch.
Yes, I'm sorry. I had that wrong. Noah says to Enoch.
Like, tell me like what's going to happen to the earth. Yeah. And am I going to die? So some problems here, which is, first of all, if we go along with the biblical genealogy, Enoch died or was taken to be with the Lord when Noah was 20 years old. Mm-hmm. And Noah was 600 years old when the great flood came. Yeah. So Enoch's been gone a long time. Yeah. So he's obviously talking to dead Grandpa Enoch. And also God came to Noah and told him, like, build an ark. I'm going to destroy the earth, but I'll preserve you and your family. Yeah. But here Noah's like, oh no, what's going to happen? Oh, grandfather Enoch in the sky, come tell me. Totally. So it already doesn't line up with the narrative. Yeah. But Enoch comes to stand by Noah. He shows up. And he asks why Noah has cried out to him with a, quote, bitter cry and weeping. Enoch continues to tell Noah that, quote, a command has gone forth from the presence of the Lord concerning those who dwell on the earth, that their ruin is accomplished because they have learnt all the secrets of the angels and all the violence of the Satans and all their powers, the most secret ones, and all the power of those who practice sorcery and the power of witchcraft and the power of those who make molten images for the whole earth, which could be alluding to idols. Right. Yeah. And so I see why they included the later compilers of this book, this kind of narrative, because Enoch's kind of recapping in this fragment of Noah what happens in the Book of the Watchers, the beginning of the real Book of Enoch, where these fallen angels come to earth and teach mankind what he describes here, the secrets of angels and the violence of the accuser and witchcraft and sorcery, and how metal is produced. And so I think that's kind of what ties it in. Mm-hmm. So that part is, in conjunction with, even in the actual Bible, the Book of Genesis, it talks about men, increasing in knowledge and learning metallurgy. So, yeah. Or even that there is, some like allusions to alchemy as well. Yeah, and it does describe here, I left it out, but it does describe smelting, not smelting necessarily, but metalworking in this chapter as well. Yeah. So there's definitely some connections to the Book of Genesis and the, beginning of the Book of Enoch. So maybe that's why they snuck this in here. Yeah. Yeah. And then after that, Noah says that Enoch took me by the hand, because when Enoch showed up, he face planted. Yeah. Fell on his face. Yeah. So Enoch pulls him up and says, I have asked the Lord what's going to happen. And he told me that because there's unrighteousness on the earth, there will be judgment. And I will not withhold this judgment forever. And so it's kind of interesting because, like, in the Book of Genesis, God tells Noah that. Yeah. That like judgment is coming. But in this narrative, Enoch came to let Noah know this. Isn't that weird? Yeah. But I kind of liked the tie-in to Enoch is saying that God said that I won't withhold my judgment forever, which reminds me of Genesis 6:3, where God is saying, my spirit will not contend with man forever, that he's waiting, he's giving, for judgment, almost this place of repentance. But then Enoch continues in this narrative saying that there's no place they will not repent, because they have seen, what has been hidden. But you, Noah, the Lord knows that you are pure and guiltless, and he will preserve you.
Yeah, preserved amongst those who dwell on earth, and that from him will come a, quote, fountain of the righteous and the holy without number forever. Mm-hmm. So kind of saying he's going to be the new Adam.
Yes. Yeah. Which I was like, does God say anything like this in the book of Genesis? And it does in 2 places, which I found it very interesting. I feel like I mainly know like the children's church version of the book of Noah. I mean, of the story of Noah. But in Genesis 6:9, it says Noah was a righteous man, perfect in his generations, and he walked with God. Kind of like how Adam and Eve walked with God. Mm-hmm. So very different than other people living at that time. And also right before the flood in Genesis 9:1, it says, God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. So very connected to this fragment of Noah saying that you will produce, a generation of righteous and holy men that will
fountain.
Without number forever, which is also similar to what God said to Abraham, like more than the stars.
Yeah,
will be your descendants.
How many people do you think have ever lived?
Oh, we could look it up. It would probably be a very broad range.
I mean,
how many do you think?
It's got to be like 1 trillion. Right?
I don't think so.
Like 500 billion?
Let's see. Approximately 117 to 125 billion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's from like an evolutionary standpoint, right?
That's just humans.
Oh, okay. So from like biblical times to now. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So how many? 100 to?
They in between 105 to 125 billion.
Wow. And there's 8 billion on the earth right now. Right?
There are 8.2.
8.2 billion on the earth.
So in the last 75 years, we went from 2.5 billion to 8.2.
That's so crazy.
So like almost quadrupled.
That's insane. But then it stopped growing.
Years. Yeah, I think the population is kind of going down.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so the 105 billion you said?
Mm-hmm. 120. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, what made you ask that?
Oh, I was just wondering because it says a fountain of the righteous and the holy without number forever. Yeah. It's like, well, there's a number.
Yeah, but
for sure,
it'd be hard to count.
Definitely will be hard.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Sorry, chapter 66.
Cool.
So, did you have anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. So, in this chapter, Noah describes how he is shown, quote, the angels of punishment who are prepared to come and let loose all the powers of the waters which are beneath in the earth in order to bring judgment and destruction on all who abide and dwell on the earth, which is crazy because some people theorize that it was just rain that came in on the earth over months or days, depending on who you talk to. But this is talking about like water being beneath the earth, coming up, flooding the whole world. Right,
because there's a verse in Genesis that talks about the fountains of the deep breaking.
Yeah.
So kind of this idea of water coming up also. But I find it interesting that Enoch, or rather Noah, is shown the angels of punishment who were prepared to let loose these waters. So kind of like they're holding them back, which ties into earlier in the book of parables, which talked about how God created chambers for the rain or the hail, and like different angels or powers were responsible through God's authority to let them loose. And there's a couple of chapters in the book of Psalms that talk about, and also the book of Job, like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, about God creating chambers of water. Pretty much that he's the one who like holds back the weather and looses it, showing like his ultimate authority. But I find it interesting that verse 2 here, it says, the Lord gave the commandment to the angels to not release the waters yet.
Yeah.
So kind of this a bit of contending along with mankind that we see in Genesis 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It goes on to say the Lord gave commandment to the angels who were going forth that they should not cause the waters to rise up, should hold them in check. It's interesting, like you're saying, because if God has so many angels do stuff for him, like he pours out wrath. Angels pour out wrath in Revelation.
Yes.
It's like, why isn't God doing it himself? In a way, they are his hand.
Right. He's the one commanding them.
He's the one commanding them. But he still uses them, you know?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. Even
Right.
even in the extra biblical books, it's consistent that God uses his angels to complete his plan. He doesn't go forth himself.
Right. And we see it more also even in the Bible in more apocalyptic type literature. So like the book of Daniel has a lot of mentions of angels. And obviously in the book of Revelation, like you mentioned, I was reading through it the other day and noticed, kind of reminded me because I just studied this. They talk about these angels who are prepared for this purpose to release these waters. And it talks about in the book of Revelation, there's 4 angels that are like being kept and waiting at the river Euphrates that are going to be released. So kind of like that God has these, if we take it as fully realistic rather than like a spiritual reality. I don't know, how do you explain this? Like it's actually going to happen. Not symbolic.
Yeah, not symbolic.
That there are, the book of Revelation is all about these angels that are specifically prepared to bring forth certain judgments. And we're kind of seeing a little taste of that here in this chapter.
Maybe it's more of a delegation thing. You know, if you're the boss, you're not going to clean the bathrooms.
Right. You could,
but you're doing more important stuff. I don't know.
You get into
Do you
a
think
real
all
deep
angels
theological-
are men?
No, I think they're gender. Well, never mind.
Because they came down and slept with women.
Yes.
And you don't hear any female angels.
Right.
Unless Gabriel is a girl. We just always thought that he was a guy.
Interesting. Yeah, because there's Gabriel, Michael, which could be a girl name. Like David's one of his wives in the Bible was Michael. And then the only other angel with the name in the Bible is Apollyon or Abaddon in the book of Revelation.
But the angels came down and slept with the sons of man or the daughters of man.
Yes. I get what you're saying. I was just thinking of the names.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just play devil's advocate, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just never
Dude
considered
angels.
it. Just a bunch of bros hanging out in heaven.
Yeah. I mean,
waiting
and
to pour some
Satan,
bowls of judgment out.
you know, what we think of Satan or the devil, you know, Jesus says, I think it's in the book of Mark or Matthew, and I saw Satan fall like lightning.
Yeah.
And many people tie that into the fallen watchers, the fallen angels. And Satan's definitely described in very masculine language.
Yeah.
Like he's a dude.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I don't understand why give somebody genitalia if they're not going to use it.
That's not where I thought you were going with this. But
No, I mean, why? There's just a bunch of angels up there, a bunch of dudes who are just never going to reproduce, and yet they are anatomically dudes. You know what I'm talking about? But in heaven,
maybe it's a free will thing.
we choose to not.
Yeah. Or they have the option too. Like they're not just always like
They definitely have
eunuchs.
free will.
Yeah.
They definitely have free will, but and Adam was male, and then God created female, and so maybe that's the first time he was like,
Or was he male?
"That's true."
He was just a human.
Well, I'm gonna go with he's
you look at
male.
the
If there's
language.
male angels, I'm gonna go with him being male.
Okay.
To start. So humans would have been the first with a female.
Maybe.
First creations with a female, which would be insane. I wonder how many rounds of like beings God created before he got to humans. Because there's angels.
You mean like angels, like living creatures?
There's living creatures.
Seraphim, cherubim.
Yeah, but did he create worlds
I
where
don't
there was
think so.
just angels on it?
I don't think so. But I mean, we can't argue against it because there's no, it just would be
It's okay
hypothesis.
to not think so.
Yeah,
It's okay
but
to
I
not
don't
think so. Yeah. I think he created, I think angels were probably, he wasn't testing anything because he's perfect and he knows all. But I think angels are probably one of his first big races that he created.
Yeah.
The other ones are kind of like more niche beings.
Like cherubim and seraphim, which some people would consider, because angel just means messenger. So maybe just sometimes people think they're all, they're
Does it
all
mean
angels.
Wow. I didn't know that.
It depends on how you define it. So don't come at me. Yeah. And then there's the wheel within wheel thing, and then principalities, powers,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
interesting. I think of most things demonic as masculine. Probably just because of how, Satan and demons are portrayed. You don't, normally see it. But obviously we got a lot of witches out there. When I think of like people who do witchcraft in nowadays, I think of women.
Yeah.
So it's maybe a presentation of what we see in media. Angels are mostly in like medieval art, or if you go to like, museums, shown as masculine.
Yeah.
Sometimes some female ones, or just kind of these like cheruby blob babies.
Yeah. But not necessarily female cherubim blob babies, mostly male.
Like when it talks about in this chapter, the angels of punishment, I'm like, I'm not thinking of those being ladies.
No, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I think women could be angels.
All right. I'm glad you said it.
We'd be bad drivers up there, but
Yeah.
just kidding. Okay. Anyways, that is all I have.
So the last verse of that chapter is Noah saying that I went away from the presence of Enoch. Mm-hmm. So he called out to Enoch, and Enoch came and told him everything that God told Noah in the Bible.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice if that's how all of our prayers were answered?
If we could talk.
God comes and fully has a conversation, and then you get your answer.
I always wondered what that looked like, because it talks about in the Bible, like, no man has seen God.
Yeah.
But then, like, Moses saw, like,
the back of God. God's booty.
You can't say that.
I'm sorry.
I love it.
He likes it. I think God laughs at that stuff. I'm sorry if that's disrespectful, Lord. But I think you had a giggle at it, and I'm going to leave it in.
I love it. I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah. But it's like, it talks about, because I just read through the book of Genesis the other day, or listened to it. And it was fascinating to me the amount of times God spoke very clearly to people, like Gideon. And God's like, do this. He's like, well, God, how about I do this? And God's like, okay. And he's like, God, how about this again? And then God's like, da 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 da. Like, I wish I could. It seems to me like it's an external, audible voice, very clear, talking to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe it was because it was more necessary back then.
Right.
Like
they didn't have the Holy Spirit. Babies. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also didn't know like how to make food or anything like that. Or God was just kind of like, hey, they're going to die out. We were the first endangered species, I think. By his doing it a couple times.
I love that.
And
I think the Nephilim were the true first endangered species.
The Nephilim?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Well, unless they're still around spiritually.
Yeah.
And physically.
I think they could be there.
Yeah.
Creeping around.
I think so.
Yeah. Have you seen Andre the Giant?
Have you seen?
That was not natural.
Have you seen the guy from like Iceland who's like 9 feet tall and played in Game of Thrones? I don't know.
Does he have reddish hair?
I don't know. But
apparently Nephilim have red hair. So
he lifted 1,000 pounds.
Oh wow!
He was the second man ever to lift 1,000. I think it might have been 1,200 pounds.
That's crazy.
He broke the record from the strongest man on earth. But yeah, I think he's part Nephilim. I could get behind that.
Him and Andre the Giant.
He could put his hand around my whole head and crush it, and I have a giant head. And so I know it would take a Nephilim to bust this melon.
I love it. Cool. Well, that is our next steps through the Book of Enoch. We'll continue. I think we'll have 2 more times before we finish the Book of Parables.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks for sticking with us. I hope you all enjoy this. We enjoy it.
Statistically, this is the only thing they enjoy about our podcast.
Yes. It gets the most views.
Gets the most views, and I don't know why.
At least on YouTube.
Yeah. But thanks for joining us.